How do you buy investment property? My name's Chris Crone. I achieved my financial freedom at the age of 26. And frankly, for the last decade and a half, I've been traveling the world and living life in amazing ways because of what buying investment property has done for me. Today, I'm actually going to go back to the basics, Investing 101. We're going to be talking about what should you be buying. We're going to talk about good debt and bad debt and what your next steps look like so you can start building wealth today.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
So I must have been a really odd person because I was so concerned in my early 20s about my future. I didn't want to wait 30 or 40 years in a career only to find out that I might not enjoy it. In fact, I couldn't even really imagine liking doing anything for 30 or 40 years. And so for me, I just wanted out. I wanted to find a way to live life on my terms. Listen, I wasn't even trying to be rich. All I really wanted at the end was to have a replacement income so I didn't have to have a job. I met 3 men who had all made millions of dollars in real estate that gave me the guidance like I'm going to be doing for you today. So check it out. There are some really important basics for you to understand when it comes to, okay, what is investment property? For those of you that have actually bought property and might think this is a little too basic, listen super carefully because I'm going to share some of the nuances that can make the difference between buying 1 or 2 properties and literally hundreds of properties like I have. So when you buy a property, there's a couple of basics to be aware of. First of all, property is kind of scary when you're brand new or if you're young, because if you think about it, it's like the most expensive thing that you can buy that is still considered a commodity. You know, if you take a look at the national median, meaning the average price in this country, it's over $200,000. So if I take a $200,000 piece of property, it's like, wow, that's a lot of responsibility. And all of a sudden you're gonna be thinking things like, what happens if someone doesn't pay the mortgage or I don't pay the mortgage or will my credit get ruined? Here's the basics that I think are super important for you to understand. First one is that if I buy this property for $200,000, I have to come up with a down payment. Usually if it's an investment, you're gonna put 20% down. And 20% on 200,000 ultimately comes out to $40,000. Now, I'm going to show you some strategies later in this video where you can pay a lot less money or even potentially no money. But understand that this is the other thing that scares a lot of people. I have to come up with a lot of money, and Chris, how am I going to save that? Or can I use money from my 401k or my IRA? Let's just assume for a moment that because you're a subscriber to this channel and I'm teaching you these things, that I show you literally dozens of ways to get money that are super easy, that don't require saving and waiting. But accessing this money, if you buy this property, what you're going to get is something called a mortgage. And a mortgage basically is where the bank says, if you give me $40,000, we're gonna give you the other $160,000, and it's a loan. And you've got 30 years to pay us back, and your payment on that is going to be $1,000 a month. So now you have a brand new obligation. Some people are gonna say, Chris, that's debt. And debt is bad. I've been taught that, and you should stay out of debt. I actually hate consumer debt, but I love business debt. The difference between the two, if I buy a boat or a car, that's debt, and it costs me money. It takes money out of my pocket every month. This debt, make no mistake, is actually a really positive thing, and you actually want as much of this debt as you can get. Why? Because if I take this property, and let's say I'm gonna own it for 5 years before I sell it, what can I do with it? Well, I'm not just gonna sit around and pay $1,000 a month. What I actually need to do is get this house producing income for me. And you could do a couple of different things. You could turn it into a straight rental, as in, all right, I gotta find out if someone can rent this for more than $1,000 a month. And in this price range with these numbers, you're gonna find that you're gonna be able to rent that positive cash flow. It might be only $100 or $200 left over every month. So let's say a tenant comes in here, and let's say that they rent it, and that the rent they're willing to pay is $1,200 every single month. You're thinking, great, they're gonna cover my $1,000, they're gonna work on paying this home down, and I have $200 left over every month. Or if I'm mentoring you in, for example, how to do a lease option, which is how I recommend newbies get started, then I'm gonna show you instead how to do a rent to own and collect on average closer to $1,400 or $1,500 a month, so that you're now getting the difference of you pay your $1,000 a month, you're collecting $1,500. Guess what that means? There's an extra $500 every single month. Now, by the way, When you're poor like I was, just getting started, $500 a month is meaningful. I mean, that can make a car payment. For me, it paid down my credit card debt. I had $8,700 of credit card debt, and it helped pay that off, which was a huge relief to me. And so that money is meaningful. More importantly, though, is that if you hold this home for 5 years and then you sell it in 5 years, understand that properties under the median always go up in value. So let's just say for a moment that this home actually went up to $230,000 in value. If you sell it, you make that extra $30,000. You're making the $500 a month. And actually, there's a lot more money to be made on this property than that. It could be down payments that these people give you, $5,000 up front, which is typical. It could be the tax benefits if you want to pay less in taxes. Bottom line is real estate really makes sense when you're buying investment grade real estate. This example is just to kind of show you some of those basics, which is you buy a property, it's going to go up with time. You're going to put a down payment, whether your money or someone else's. You're going to control that property. You're going to lease it strategically for more than what your payment is. And you're going to make money in, I can count them, 5 different ways. If you go to chriscrone.com or you check the link below, you can get a free copy of my book that actually talks about the 5 different profit strategies. And because I did this in my early 20s, I fell in love with it. And by the time I was 26 years old, I bought 25 of these properties. Those 25 properties produced $12,000 a month and increased my net worth $1.6 million. And that meant that shortly after graduating college, I walked into my boss's office and I quit. And even though I was kind of nervous, it was really exciting because I no longer needed society or job or a boss to take care of my family. I knew how to do that myself. And that's really what I'm empowering with today in this conversation of how do you buy investment property. Now, if you're just starting out and brand new, here are a couple of the hacks and things that'll be helpful for you. First of all, you can use your money and you can use your credit to buy property. And I always believe that the first property you should buy is a primary residence. It's the first property for you. And instead of a 20% down payment, it's just a 3% down payment. So if we were talking about a $200,000 house, we're now talking about $6,000 to buy the house versus $40,000, because the bank says if you're going to live there, we think you're going to take care of it better than if you're going to rent it or do something else with it. To make that happen, you really need to establish 3 lines of credit. So you're going to want to get 3 different credit cards, apply for them, and you're going to want to keep them paid off. You're going to want to use them and pay them off, use them and pay them off. And that shows the bank that you're responsible. If you can be responsible for 2 years in building up your credit that way, and you have a basic stable job that you've had for at least 2 years, and you save up that 3% down payment, guess what? You're golden and you're going to buy your first house. Or you're going to say, well, Chris, what if I want to get into investments and I want to go fast? I want to hit the ground running like you did. Then you're going to need a mentor, and then you're going to need some training. If you click the link below, you're going to find out more information of how we can help you with that. Big thing that I want you to understand here, just that I want to open up your mind to, is that when buying investment properties, the biggest hurdles are finding good deals and then finding the money for them. And what I want to teach you how to do is become a deal maker. First of all, you should be a subscriber to the site, because every day I'm teaching videos that are either strengthening your mindset, so your positive financial psychology, or I'm actually teaching you the business skills for going out there and actually crushing it in real estate. And the reality is that deals already exist, and guess what? People with money already exist. Your job is to learn how to put them together. Now, there are several different ways of doing that, and you'll learn on a lot of my other videos how to do that. If you click the link below, there's an opportunity for you to actually, yes, get a copy of my book, but also get a consultation for free. Talk to a member of my team. They will put themselves in your shoes and say, all right, if we were you starting out at your age with what you got, which might be lots of money or in debt, like I was when I started, and they're going to show you step by step what you need to do. We call it a game plan. And they're basically going to share with you what your next steps look like so that you can build wealth in the most intelligent way possible. Listen, buying investment property, it's easy if you have a team and if you have a system and you have a chance to inherit mine, or subscribe and keep learning how to build your own. Either way, if you're looking for shortcuts, I'm going to be providing those for you. Thank you so much for watching today. Make sure that you are a subscriber, and if you want to get some hands-on help, it doesn't cost anything. And if you click the link below, my team stands ready to help you start building wealth today.